Alright, this is the last video for geometry. Yay, you should throw yourself a little party because this is the last video you have to watch. And this is hopefully going to be pretty simple. I think a lot of us will see the pattern of what's going to happen and you're going to get it right away, and I hope that happens. Alright, so we have objectives to write equations and graph circles in the coordinate plane. Use the equation and graph circle to solve problems. So you're going to see the word graph, plane, coordinate plane, all that stuff. Don't freak out because it's really not that bad at all, I promise. Alright, don't pay too much attention to this. I do want to just go over that for you real quick though. The equation of a circle is based on the distance formula and the fact that all points on a circle are equidistant from the center. So this is a radius. We all know what a radius is. So to find the radius, you just find the distance from the red dot to the black circle. This circle is made up of infinite amount of points. There's so many tiny itty bitty points here, 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 and here. This specific point happens to be called xy. So to figure out the distance of the radius, you just take x minus h squared plus y minus k squared. So this, you just take the distance, that finds the radius. This is the equation. This will be your equation for a circle. So your radius is finding just the distance from the center to the outside. All right, so here's this equation. We're going to think of, when it says x minus h squared, you're going to think of this as x opposite h and y opposite k. So if h, and so again, here's your point, hk. Your point h is positive, k is positive, so that's why over here they do the opposite. If they gave you this as your point, your equation would be x plus h squared plus y plus k squared equals r squared. You always just do the opposite. You do the opposite, whatever the center is. So the center goes here, the x goes with the x, the y goes with the y. You do x opposite, y opposite, and you square your r. All right, so they want to write the center of each circle. This is supposed to read circle J with center 2, 2, and radius 4. So I'm going to start off with my x parentheses squared plus parentheses y parentheses squared equals. These are the things that are going to happen every time you have a circle equation. Every time, I promise. Every single time. So now this is my center. So the center goes here and here, and you just take the opposite. Since this is the x spot, I put this one with this, and it's plus 2, so I do opposite. This one I have 2, so I do opposite. And then I've got radius of 4. When I put it down here, though, I have to square it. So I get 16. That is the equation. You just put the opposite x and y in, and then you square the radius. That's all. You just have to remember this x squared plus y squared equals squared. All right, so let's do a couple more. This one, it passes through here and has the center of 1, negative 8. So the center is going to be, the first part is going to be x minus 1 squared plus y plus 8 squared. And I need to figure out what this is going to be. Again, this part is always going to be the same. You just take the opposite x, the opposite y, put it behind the x and the y. Now I need to find what my radius is. My radius is the distance from the center of a circle to the outside. So that's all you do, is you just find the radius, you find the distance. So distance formula is x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. All right, doesn't matter what point you choose. Since we're good with the distance formula, I'm going to go ahead and just solve for it. I'm going to choose J to be my point 2 because I just want the radius to be my initial point, point 1 I'm going to call it. So I have x minus 1 squared plus y, or not y, plus 4 minus negative 8 squared. So notice how I had a minus negative, so I changed it to positive. Alright, so I get square root of 5 squared plus 12 squared equals square root of 25 plus 144 equals square root of 169, which equals 13. So 13 is my radius. the radius of my circle is going to be 13 units. If I start at the center, it's going to take me 13 units to get out there. All right, so now you just come to this part of the equation. Don't forget, though, when you put in the radius, you do have to square it. So you basically just put back in the 169. So this is your equation for your circle. X minus 1 squared plus y plus 8 squared equals 169. Opposite centers, square your radius. All right, another quick example. Try to do this one on your own. Write the equation of a circle with P center 0, negative 3, and the radius 8. All right, so pause it, do it. All right, now play it. We've got x minus 0 squared plus y opposite 3 squared equals 8 squared is 64. Now, when you see this in your book and on problems and worksheets and stuff, they're not going to write it as this because x minus 0 is just x. So they're going to write it as x squared and then this. All right, so this is the more accurate equation. These are the same thing, except this is just adding more stuff to you. This will help you see what the center is, 0, negative 3. This is the way that the book will write it. The problems will be written. This is how you will see it. All right, if you are given the equation of a circle, you can graph the circle by making a table or by identifying its center and radius. We're going to do this part. Identifying the center and radius are going to be a lot easier. What happened here? So graph x minus 3 squared. This is all supposed to say squared because of the formula. Plus y plus 4 squared. All right. So again, I already had the circle in here because it's very hard for me to try to graph this in here. Graph x minus 3 squared plus y plus 4 squared equals 9. The equation of the given circle can be written as that. Again, they're just showing you how you can see that this is opposite. So the opposite of negative 3 and positive 4 is going to be 3, negative 4. That's your center. So I'm going to go over here to El Grapho, and I go from the center 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's my center. All right, remember what your radius was? Your radius was, or your equation said r squared was 9. So since r squared equals 9, I need to figure out what just r is. Well, to get rid of the r squared, I square root it. I square root it over here, and I get 3. All right, so you come into here, come into your circle. Again, this has already been graphed for you, but on your graph paper, you have to draw this. Starting at the center, you go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I would do those. When you find your center, this is how I would graph it. Plot your center, figure out what your radius is, go right, up, left, down, and then kind of just sketch out a circle. So if I were doing it, I would come over here, out 3, come up 3, left 3, down 3, then I would kind of just trace out the best circle that you can, connecting those 4 points in a circular motion. Like that. All right, last example, graph this. Again, this is supposed to say x squared plus y squared equals 9. All right, so what's your center? It doesn't tell you anything about x and y. Since they don't tell you anything, plus or minus a number, it has to be 0. So the center is 0, 0. R squared equals 9. Again, I wish they would have changed this from the last example, so now it looks exactly the same, but you just square root it, r equals 3. All right, so let's pretend that we've got this little graph here. Here I'm going to plot my center. All right, these probably aren't all spaced out, but that's fine. I'm going to go out 3 units to the right because that's my radius. 3 units up. 3 units left, and 3 units down. To the best of my ability, I'm going to connect my dots in a circle. That was actually pretty good. All right, so that's it. That's how you graph a circle from an equation. That's how you, and then you have to be able to do, again, we're going to do a lot of circles in class. It's just doing the opposites of the x and y's and then taking the square root of the radius or the r, and then that tells you what the radius is.